Back to the walkouts across Texas schools. Growing concerns around ICE activity are driving student-led walkout protests statewide, including Jacksonville ISD students. CBS 19's Robert De La Garza was there as those students walked out. Robert, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Brendan, as you mentioned, a handful of students here at Jacksonville ISD did participate in this walkout as part of their protest to ICE policies. They left around 3 o'clock this afternoon. They met on this corner of 69 here and Henderson Street, just near the Southside Church of Christ and the Scooters Coffee. They were holding signs of no more ICE and abolish ICE. And they also weren't alone. I mean, they were met by supporters as well as people who were honking, driving by, honking in their support. But I spoke with organizers who said that they wanted to send a message today that nobody deserves to be treated this way and that everyone is human. The organizer also said that they wanted people across East Texas to know that they aren't alone, referencing a similar walkout in Tyler just weeks ago. One student told me his parents suffered a lot just to stay in this country. He is the second parents of immigrants. He heard to see them when he called harsher immigration reforms. This comes just one day after Governor Greg Abbott and the Texas Education Agency announced they're cracking down on school walkouts, warning that students who leave campus during the school without proper procedures could be marked unexcused, not allowed back for the rest of the day, and could face disciplinary action. Less than half an hour ago, we heard from Jacksonville ISD, who said students who leave campus during the instructional day without following proper procedures will receive an unexcused absence and will not be permitted to return to campus for the remainder of the day. Additionally, students who leave campus without authorization may be subject to disciplinary actions. And students told me that they were warned that if they did leave the campus today, that they would not be allowed back to that last period of the day. But, you know, despite the numbers being low today, they also tell me that no matter those numbers, whether they're 2 people, a dozen people, 200 people, that the most important thing is that that their voices were heard. Brendan.
Alrighty, Robert De La Garza live in Jacksonville for us. Thank you. The Texas Education Agency is clarifying how student walkouts during the school day should be handled. It says if students leave class to protest, they must mark absent because protesting is not an excused absence under Texas law. Students are still required to make up missed class time as long as their attendance stays within state limits. But after 10 unexcused absences in 6 months, truancy can become a civil court issue. The guidance also warns districts could lose funding and teachers could face discipline if walkouts are allowed or encouraged. All of this raises a bigger question tonight about how much political expression students are allowed to have during the school day and how schools are required to respond. To help us understand the legal balance between student expression and classroom obligations, we're joined live by Dr. John Barrett, political science professor at LeTourneau University. Dr. Barrett, always good to see you. First question I have for you, Dr. Barrett, how do students' First Amendment rights apply during the school day?
Well, students have the right to express themselves politically. They just can't do so in a way that substantially disrupts the learning that's going on there. So if they want to have a T-shirt or a hat or something that expresses their opinion, they can do so as long as they're generally conforming to the policies of the school.
Dr. Barrett, can schools legally restrict political expression if it interferes with instruction?
No, not generally. So they could have, let's say, a policy that says we don't want anyone to wear a hat, and that's content neutral. So it doesn't matter what your hat says, you know, we just don't allow hats. But if you're going to allow students to wear hats, then, you know, if they want to have one that says Make America Great Again or Ice Out or whatever, you have to let them do that.
And Dr. Barrett, as Robert De La Garza just mentioned there in Jacksonville, you know, Governor Abbott has threatened about, you know, school districts losing funding. Are attendance penalties a lawful way to discourage walkouts?
Well, all of the normal rules of school apply here. So if you want to participate in a protest, you can do that, but it has to be after school hours. Otherwise, you're counted as absent. And so that doesn't change. And so the schools automatically lose funding as attendance goes down. So there's a little bit of an automatic mechanism there, but it's no different than if somebody, you know, skips school because of whatever other reason. At some point, if they're absent enough that there's a truancy problem, then that comes into play as well. But it's all content neutral in the sense that the school can't punish you for expressing your opinion. They can just punish you for being absent against the school policy.
And last question for you, Dr. Barrett. Do students have fewer free speech rights at schools than outside of it?
Well, certainly, if students want to get together after school hours and have a demonstration, okay, that's kind of on their own time there. But the idea is while they're at school, this is kind of a public venue like a park, and the state has an interest in managing it and regulating it to make sure it's achieving its stated purpose, which is to educate the students.
Alrighty, Dr. John Barrett, thank you for your time.